What is going on, everybody? Welcome back once again to another edition of Wrestling Republic's Sunday Night Spotlight, a super special edition. And every now and again, you just got to come clean when you make a mistake. This is attempt number 2, and it is all my fault. It is entirely my fault. But we are super stoked to be here on a Sunday because I've got the wickedest, most fun crew in the game with me, as I do every Sunday, and a super special guest that I've been looking forward to all week. First and foremost, though, I'm going to send this one out to New York to our good friend Megan. How are you on this fine Sunday?
Good morning, everyone. Again, highly blessed and favored, and I'm just grateful to be here with you amazing people, and I'm excited for this episode. I'm truly excited, and I think everyone who's watching it will definitely enjoy it.
Absolutely, Megan. I am stoked myself. Let's get right into it, and let's talk about how guilty I feel about making Dryzzy do this twice. But let me send it out to Louisville, Kentucky. Who is that we should believe in, Drizz?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in for the second time. I was on a boat, but now I'm here because when I heard about who the guest was today, I took off running from Miami to get here.
Absolutely. And to leave Miami like that, that's a big ask for Drizzy, for sure. When he's on vacation like that, I'm totally kidding, Drizz. We are stoked to have you too, but let's talk about this guest because I am so excited on this Sunday. Historically spotlighted in the second ever episode, but this time in the actual building with us. Joseline Navarro, what's going on? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Every day is a good day when you're above ground, okay?
Amen. There we go.
No
You
doubt.
ain't never lie. You ain't never lie.
Absolutely. And great news this time. It is really recording. So this time it's for real. Let's get right into it, though, Drizzy, with our opening question.
And I know Megan is giggling her tail off. All right. At the risk of sounding like Tay Diggs in Brown Sugar. Don't giggle. At the risk of sounding like Tay Diggs in Brown Sugar, when did you fall in love with wrestling?
When I was 5, I was a wrestling fan. I dabbled in wrestling and whatnot. But I got to see Jazz and Jacqueline wrestling. I was like, oh, like, okay, who are these girls? Two women that look like me. I could see myself in them, and that's when I fell in love with wrestling.
And I absolutely love that. We don't have a lot of us people that look like we had this conversation before, didn't we?
This is my fault. I completely messed that up.
Like,
It's
I don't
still
know what
equally,
I can't put my
it's
finger.
an equally impactful answer, but I messed
Like,
up.
I can't put my finger on it, but we've been here before.
Is this a time machine?
But yes, since but on a serious note, um, we have to talk about how many of us is there, and how many of us had to grow up with with a lot of other wrestlers that wasn't necessarily black, and we had to look up to them. Although they didn't look like us, they were our favorite wrestlers, but they did not look like us.
Mm-hmm.
And it hits different, especially for the children of today who gets to see Bianca Belair, who gets to see Jade Cargill, Willow Nightingale, women that wasn't necessarily in or around our time when growing up watching it. So with you mentioning these veterans, Jazz and Jacqueline, as a child, these are two very strong, very black women that killed it in the ring. I mean, they was whooping butt in this ring, and they looked like us. How important do you think representation is in wrestling today? And how do you hope to inspire young girls who sees themselves in you when they watch you wrestle?
I think representation is very important because again, if you see yourself, doing something, like if you see yourself and somebody else doing something, it's more realistic for you to be able to do that as well. Um, Everybody
Absolutely.
wants to see somebody that looks like them, and that's not just in wrestling, but that's in general, like any part of entertainment, politics, whatever. Like everybody wants to see someone that looks like them that they can relate to. And as far as inspiring the other girls, I feel like I actually inspire a lot of new girls that came into wrestling now. A lot of them, reach out to me for advice, and I'm like more of a mentor to a lot of them now. Even though like I'm still pretty
Right.
young, so it's just like
Yeah.
um, just being able to inspire people to go above and beyond, and just to create a
Hmm.
sisterhood and whatnot. I think it's good that it's more of us here in wrestling now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And on the subject of inspiration, you shared that you was inspired by the current WWE wrestler, Naomi, Trinity
Hmm.
52. You was inspired by her to try wrestling on a professional level. Can
Hmm.
you describe that moment and what was it about her performance that kind of made you say, you know what, that's what I want to do. I want to I want to be in the ring with her one day. I want to sit there and throw her around a couple of times. What was it about her that made you realize wrestling was your calling? Wrestling was something you wanted to do.
Um, I was always a fan of her. Got to see her live. Like, I mean, from like the very first time I saw her, I was like, wow, like she's just is just something about her. She's so cool. And then when I got to see her at No Way Out in Cleveland, it was just like in person. It was just her charisma, her mannerisms, how she
Mm-hmm.
looked. We have like the same body type and whatnot. So
Right.
just just seeing her and just seeing how she moved around in the ring and how she interacted with the crowd, I was just like, I was just loving it. I was like, oh my god, like, so me and my brother had went to the show together, and then after the show, I was like,
Oh,
yeah, like I gotta find a wrestling school tonight, you know. So
right.
I found a wrestling school, and my parents were actually out of town, and I had texted them. I'm like, yeah, I found a wrestling school. I'm I'm gonna go ahead and go wrestle. And they were like, okay, that's cool. Like, so so yeah.
Okay.
Shout out
I
Naomi.
like that.
Yeah.
Yes, shout out Naomi. We gonna get this in front of her, okay? Trust me, we gonna get y'all two together because I would
Yes.
love to see that match.
Yes. Me too.
Jocelyn and Naomi.
Oh,
Ooh, that would be something.
I feared
where
a
do I
little bit. I
sign?
feared a little bit because I love some Naomi too.
Where do
I
I
love
sign
But
up?
Naomi.
one thing that I've noticed
Oh,
about Jocelyn,
Naomi strong. Naomi strong. She can handle it. She
I
she
gotta
can
give
she can handle Jocelyn.
I got to give Naomi
I've,
credit, by the way. Being the most likable character on a reality show on Total Divas is maybe the greatest accomplishment in the history of reality TV, outside of the wrestling ring too. Like you watch that show, and they
Hmm.
they made everyone look bad, and you couldn't to Naomi.
Hmm.
That's cool.
I'm
No
sure
doubt about it.
That's cool.
she can handle it. But one of the things that I noticed and I absolutely love about Jocelyn is her style is so physical. It ain't pretty. It is not for the weak. She is coming to
Hmm.
knock your block.
No,
She's rocking snap boxes all day.
absolutely. Hmm.
So
I've seen it.
my next question is, how did you come up with your style?
Um. Okay. So I I played a lot of physical sports. Like I know everybody knows like I ran track and stuff. Like that's like the primary thing. But like I also played like lacrosse and I played rugby and like me and my brothers like we're a year apart in age. So growing up with siblings, and then I'm also the baby. So growing up with siblings, they always want to attack you. So so and then most of my cousins is also boys. So I had to fight a lot growing up.
Oh, so you was
Mm.
after it. You was after them churches with them, like, okay, let's play some tackle ball. Let's go.
Yep. Yeah. So and then going into wrestling, most of the time I'm the only woman training, and when I first started training, I was the only woman. So my trainers was like, when you step in the ring, you're not a woman, you're a wrestler. So we're gonna treat you like everybody else. So I was like, oh, bet, cool. Like, so very, I'm very physical from that aspect. Um, I come from a physical home promotion, so I think with that, and then I just mix like other things, like because I'm fast from track and field, so I mix that into there. But primarily, I come to fuck shit up.
And just
Period.
knocking, like, literally have.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
just so, it doesn't do it injustice watching it on TV. I've been watching nonstop since, I want to say, October 2021 at one of Paradise's anniversary shows, and she be rolling. And when it hits, it is a sudden impact, like you are getting whiplash. And it has had me in a chokehold the entire time that I've been watching.
Thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. Oh wait, mouse.
So you mentioned that you played a lot of high intensity sports like rugby and lacrosse, which is you probably can't tell. I'm more the artistic side. I've tried to be athletic. I grew up with three brothers as well. Um, but you know, the minute you get hit by a basketball or something, it's like I quit. I quit. This is too much for me. So I guess my question is, with playing these sports, these very tough sports, um, what role did they play in shaping the toughness and the resilience that we see when you step into the ring?
You know, playing sports, one thing it does, like, well, I think times is a little different, but coaches will criticize the shit out of you, like, um, they will not tell you anything that you did good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you just be like, damn, like, did I do anything good today? It's like, yeah, you could have ran faster, or you could have did this better. You're like, okay, whatever.
Right.
So it's just like that, and I think that is very important in wrestling, because in wrestling, a lot of people only want to hear what they did good, which you could tell people what they
Hmm.
did good, but they don't ever want to hear like where they went wrong. They don't want to hear any critiques and stuff. But I feel like a lot of us that
Right.
play actual sports before we started wrestling, like a lot of us are better equipped to handle that. And then
Hmm.
the physical aspect, I was just used to getting hit. So
Mm.
and like, even though like I was still a crybaby growing up, and my parents tried to combat that,
Right.
but because I'm the baby, and after a while, my dad
Oh.
was just like, he was just like, she's just gonna cry about everything, but it's fine. So it's a nice balance for me. Like, I can take
Right.
whatever, but I will cry about it. So, but
Mhm.
but
And I get that, although I don't get that because I have a baby sister, but I am the
mm,
oldest of six. So, um, Yeah, for a while I was the only girl, so it helped. Little, little tear. It gets you what you want if you know how to tap into it at the right time. It'll get you what you want. But then when they came, it kind of changed everything for me. It's like, yeah, them tears got to dry up now because we ain't trying to see all of that. But okay. See, Drizzy, I told you. Look, I want Jocelyn on my side. I don't want to go up against her.
Uh,
'Cause
I
by
don't
the
want
way,
this one
I'm
up
the
either.
oldest too, and I only cry in front of my mom, but it works every time. Every time. Absolutely. Okay. Also, by the way, though, Jocelyn, I did want to just really quickly jump in with a question because I thought it was so beautiful the way you talked about team sports and being coached and taking criticism. It's a lost art.
Mhm.
I thought that was so powerful what you said there, right?
Mhm.
To be able to be coachable. And you
Mhm.
talked about training other wrestlers and up and coming wrestlers. And there's kind of a line, right? You got to know when to give somebody the business and it's going to motivate them, right? You got to know when to light the fire and then when to pull back a little, put your arm around them and tell them it's all good. Do you find when you're coaching that you go back to your team sport experience? Because wrestling is such an individualistic sport, right? Professional wrestling is all about the individual almost outside of, I guess, tag team action, but right, neither here nor there. You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah.
It's about the personality. It's about the individual. But for example, I played college golf, right? Individual sport, but I grew up playing team sports. And I always felt like I had an advantage because I was more willing to accept criticism from playing team sports and things like that. Do you apply that when you're training up and coming wrestlers? And also, do you feel like it's kind of an advantage to yourself in a locker room full of personalities, being able to navigate those waters, even though it's a team, but it's not?
Uh,
Do you feel that dynamic a little bit?
yeah. So I definitely apply, the individual sports to, being a trainer. But the only thing is, like, I have a lot more patience than my coaches had. But I don't talk to people the way that our coaches, like 10 years ago would talk to us and stuff, because again, times are different. And with wrestling, wrestling is such a unnatural thing. So I don't expect people to just come out the gate and like know how to do things and take things like immediately. So I don't get like super frustrated if somebody like don't get it. And I'm just like, so I just break it down to them and explain to them, this is how you do this, whatever, whatever. And if you have questions, whatever, whatever. But I will not sugarcoat it. I will not coddle you, because you still here to learn. Um, I won't baby you in training, but I won't talk to you like you're like the worst person in the world either. So you definitely have to find that balance, because you want people to want to learn from you, and you want people to come back, and you want people to advance, and you don't want to discourage people, because that's how people walk away, and that's how people lose the love for their dream of what they want to do. So a lot of people have like different coaching styles, but I'm a firm believer of not discouraging people, regardless of how bad they're messing up or anything. And then as far as being in the locker room, um, I don't know. Being in the locker room, I'm like antisocial, but I'm antisocial, but I'm social. So it's just like I don't like to be bothered a lot of the times, but at the same time, I will talk to you. So it's just like, and that's how I used to be like in track. Like if it was like an hour before my race or whatever, like I put my headphones on, don't want to talk to anybody, warming up or whatever, whatever. And I'm kind of like that in the locker room. Um, I don't put my headphones on, but like I definitely like don't want to be bothered a lot of the time. But
When
at
it's
the
game
same,
time, it's game time.
yeah, but like any other time, I'm clowning real bad. I was class clown.
Yep.
Um, so I'm always clowning. but it comes to a certain point where I'm like, all right, I gotta stop clowning, so, so I can get focused. So
Absolutely. That's so beautiful. I love that. I completely hear where you're coming from on that, where it's like, okay, when it's time to go to work, though, I'm going to work. So don't
yeah,
necessarily bug me. I'm social, I'm fun. As long as it's not those times. Right.
yeah,
Right.
But the first part of the question on the coaching thing, we need more coaches like that. I love how you mentioned like the times are different and stuff. The patience. I'm not going to coddle you. I'm not going to accept, you know, if you're not trying, if you're not stuff like that. I'm also going to speak to you on a level, and that's what sports needs across the board. That's what coaching is all about. And to accomplish everything you have in the ring in your career so far, and then have that not in front of fans, what people don't see as a coach and a trainer and
Mhm.
helping out the next generation with that attitude is absolutely beautiful to me. I really appreciate it. I think it's amazing. I had to say that for sure. Dryzzy, I know you gotta have the next one here. Get in here, Drizzy. It's been too long.
I do. What has been the hardest thing you've had to learn in wrestling?
uh, the hardest thing I've had to learn, just just because you're the best wrestler, or you do XYZ the best, that does not mean um, you're going to get certain opportunities. Um, everything, a lot of stuff is like who you know, or like sometimes people get opportunities from like ass kissing and stuff like that. And coming from sports where you get the stuff because you are the best, and then coming into wrestling and it's like, uh, okay, you're the best, but do you know whomever? So it's hard to go from that to that, and sometimes you're just like, damn, like, what am I doing wrong? And it's just like sometimes you're just not in front of the right people, and sometimes you just don't know the right people. So
The politics.
yeah,
So true. And timing is everything, right? That's part of it as well. Like you said, right? Sometimes you don't know the right people. Sometimes you're not in the right place. It's
hmm,
that those have to be difficult waters to navigate without question.
yeah.
Um, and then Megan.
Um, you recently revealed that in last September you had an opportunity to main event in Jamaica at a wrestling show in Jamaica. And I understand that you are of Jamaican descent. So I know that that moment had to be, it had to be, I guess, just monumental. Like it had to be a high peak in your career. Can you walk us through the emotions, the thoughts that you experienced leading up to and during that show? And how did the audience receive you? And what impact do you think your performance had on them?
So when I was first told that we were doing the show in Jamaica, I was like, oh, like really? Like that's pretty cool because that's one place that I've always wanted to wrestle because like you mentioned, I am of Jamaican descent. So I was like, oh, that's pretty tight.
Right.
Like I'm so excited for that. And then they announced that I would be wrestling JC Storm, and I had never met her before prior to us doing the show in Jamaica, but like we talked on like Twitter and stuff. Like we met through Twitter, so I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm excited for that. And then getting there,
Yeah.
and because we got there like 3-4 days before, and it was a hassle. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. It was a hassle leading up to the show. There was a lot of stuff going on. And then when we got to the venue, there
Right.
was no air in the venue. I was like, wow, I'm gonna kill myself because it's so hot. Um, it was like, this is ridiculous. And then I had went outside because it was hotter inside than outside, and I went outside, and Mark Henry and two of the refs were sitting in the air conditioned car, and I was like, oh no, I'm about to get in the car with y'all. So I got in the car with them, and Mark Henry was telling us old WWE stories, and just giving us advice and stuff. And then we had the locker room meeting, and they were like, yeah, Joseline and JC, y'all are man. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, all right, cool. Like, wow, like, I got to wait all night to wrestle. I can't eat anything. That's cool. So, we were waiting and waiting and waiting. And then, our time came up, and we had so much fun. The match was really good. The crowd was super into it. We got a women's wrestling chant. And then, to win, essentially on my home turf, it was like a dream come true. It was the best time. I had the best. I'm glad I was able to share that moment with JC because she's also of Caribbean descent and she's Dominican. So it was big for both of us to be able to compete in the Caribbean. And then to have the other girls there, we all was able to share a big moment together in the locker room. It was just a blessing to be able to have that moment, and I really did appreciate it. Yeah.
That's so
now
incredible.
You mentioned Mark Henry, and this man, he has discovered some of the best people that we see on TV now: Bianca, Jade, ring announcer Samantha. Did he give you like any insight or any advice that resonated with you? Just something that that you keep playing head to say, one day, we're gonna work together. Like, was there anything that kind of just stuck with you?
Well, he did an interview with a Jamaican Observer, and he said he feels like I'm going to get signed in the next few years. So I was like, well, I mean, how about you get me signed now? Like,
let's go.
Little help, Mark.
Why put it off? Just go ahead and do it now.
All right, do it now. Like, what we wait though? But he gave me a lot of high praise, and he said that he loved the match. He loved watching me wrestle. He loved my personality in ring and stuff. So he just told me like sometimes it's just a moment of it's just right place, right time. So he just told me, keep working and all that. So but he gives a lot of great advice. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing we know about Mark Henry is that when his eyes is set on a person, he's gonna watch them from a distance. So I know he is watching you. I know he is keeping on you. And if he said you're gonna get signed, you're gonna get signed. That's a promise he's gonna keep. So I think us having this interview before she become a WWE superstar is where it's at, Dryzzy. Clark, what y'all think?
I'm with you. Sky is the absolute limit. Like it's gonna be too late by the time everybody else finds out. And I'm just super stoked that you joined us. Like this is like today. I'm like Megan said, it's a matter of time. I love that. And I love the insight on Mark Henry as well. I met Mark Henry once at a hotel. And was so excited. I was randomly in Austin and I just kind of waved. We were both going to breakfast. He sat on the other side of the room, but he was with a group of friends and he popped an apple like a water balloon. And I was at the breakfast table and I just started laughing like out loud in the restaurant. And he turns and looks, biggest smile on his face and points at me and goes, "You like that?" I was like, yes, I did, Mark. Yes, I did, Mr. Henry. That was one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time because he got all over his own shirt. He just did it at the breakfast table. He just squeezed it and it was apple juice.
That is crazy.
It was
Oh
one
my
of the
God.
funniest things. I think it was 2016. We were in Austin, Texas for a Texas football game and golf thing. But long story. Sorry, this is so not about me. I don't even know why I had to tell that. But he did. It was crazy. It was a Granny Smith apple, and it was just gone.
That's crazy.
I don't know how he did that. I'll never understand
I
it.
gotta learn that.
Okay.
Right.
And I didn't even want to direct this conversation into food, but I had to ask because as soon as I followed you on Instagram, the first thing that stood out to me, and I have the greatest unpublished food blog, I think, in the history of the internet. I saw Food Connoisseur, and I know you're from Cleveland. So I got to know, what is the best spot in all of Cleveland, Ohio that I haven't been to as a foodie myself?
Oh man, it really depends on what you're looking for. Oh man, like if you want like some Jamaican food, it's a place called Pimpin's. Um, really love it. They have like the best oxtails. Um,
It's real spicy too.
you can get it spicy for sure. Yeah.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Okay, we might have to talk post show about that. I need a list. I need a list.
I got you. I got you.
100%. Absolutely. Okay, Dryzzy, let's get you back in here. 100%. Let's keep it rolling.
Do you have a favorite person you like working with in the ring?
Like actual like matches or training.
Both. They like just when you're in the ring with them, just bouncing ideas off, everything just clicking, everything just flows like water.
One of my favorite people to wrestle is Raylan. She used to live in Pittsburgh, and now she lives in Texas. She's so good. Um, she is another person that does not sugarcoat anything. So like if something sucks, she'll tell you. But me and her have really great chemistry. We bounce ideas off each other when we wrestle and stuff. And we both just like to go out there and have fun. So I really enjoy wrestling her. I wrestled Maya World recently. I had in a singles match because we wrestled WrestleMania weekend too. But we had a singles match together. That was really fun. I really enjoyed that. I'm trying to think who else. um, I don't know. I don't know who else like match wise. And then train. Oh, I take that back. I really like wrestling Jack Price um, from TNA. He's really good, and I can't wait to see him get more like TV time. He's very a wealth of knowledge in wrestling. Very good. He's somebody that make you think. And that I like wrestling people that get your mind going, make you think as well. Because I'm somebody that makes people think when you have to wrestle. So yeah, I really like wrestling those three people, and then like training wise, me and Isaiah Broner, we train together a lot. Like so, I really enjoy training with him. I'm trying to think of who else really. That's just on top of my head. Like
Jack Price was not a name I had on my bingo card for that question, but it's so cool. I love how you mentioned like the cerebral psychological aspect of his wrestling and you two in the ring together. That seems like a match made in heaven, right? When it comes to a high quality, entertaining wrestling match, you can't really go wrong there, right? Like, I mean, and that's what we're all looking for. And we can't thank you enough, but I love that answer. I as soon as you said the name, I was like, did not expect Jack Price, but I absolutely love it. And then let's get you in here, Megan.
Well, you mentioned you like working with Maya World, and you have revealed that you're interested in creating a trio, her and Jada Stone, and a trio of three women who have different styles, different personalities. What kind of inspired that idea, and are we going to see it? Like, is that something that is going to come in the near future? Is it just an idea that y'all playing with? Like, what's the 411 on that?
So we're all three of us are like legitimately close and like in real life. Um, we're we call ourselves the little big three because during Mania
Mhm.
during Mania week, people were calling us little big three. So it was like, okay, so that's what
Yes.
our group chat is named, little big three.
That's awesome.
And so we did the Spark Joshi tryout and during
Okay.
Mania week as well, and all three of us were selected for the show,
Okay.
and we were like, oh, it would be fun if we just formed a trio, formed a group, and
Right.
all of our birthdays are next to each other. Maya's is July 26th, I'm July 31st, and then Jada is August 4th. So we was just like, it just all makes sense. Like we, we are
Right.
Leos, like we all enjoy being together. We all want to
Oh,
work together as a team and wrestle each other.
right.
But we just want to do stuff together. And you don't really see too many black women in trios all like that.
Right.
So we thought that would be pretty cool to get that going. So we're trying to get it going. We're going to figure it out though. We're going to figure it out for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Three black female Leos in a group together.
I was about to say, I'm
Like
like, I,
y'all,
I love the name, but I'm like, how are y'all not the Leo trio?
What? The Leo trio.
Like that, talk about a stone
like
left
Tell you,
unturned.
they,
yeah,
they gonna be
It's the Leo trio.
unstoppable. What? They are going to be unstoppable. Okay, ain't nobody gonna be able to take them down.
100%.
I like that.
like
Just yeah, come to the city because I want to see that. I want to see that in person.
Absolutely. Okay, Drizzy,
all
let's do one more question. Then let's hit
right,
our moment of the week and then a special moment. I'm going to ask
all right,
Jocelyn Wise, but let's get going. Sorry, my bad.
all right. If you could change anything in wrestling, what would it be?
If I can change anything in wrestling, okay, it's like two things. Okay. So the first one would be to let the women wrestle for the men's belts. Like some places let us do it, but like it's not enough places that let us do it. I love
Ooh,
intergender wrestling. Like
I would like that.
it's it's so fun. I love wrestling heavyweights. I mentioned Isaiah Broner earlier. Um, he's one of my favorite like people to wrestle because like he treats me like a wrestler and not as a woman like so he just be like when we get in there like, it is what it is. So but I rock with that and it's just like wrestling heavyweights and cruiserweights or whatever. um Let us wrestle for the men's belts. Don't pigeonhole us to one belt and then there's like 8 other belts in the company. like what are we doing? If you're gonna let me wrestle for the men, I mean, if you're gonna let me wrestle with the men, let me wrestle for their belts. So I
Thanks.
think that needs to happen more. Um, and then I feel like some places, like as far as like booking women and specifically black women, a lot of places feel like, oh, we already got one black girl. We don't, it's said without being said. And I want more black women booked on these shows, not because we're black, but I mean, a lot of us are really freaking good, and it's just like, don't. Well, we already got one. We don't need more. And then like, let's add more women to shows. I'm tired of just having one woman on the show or just one women's match. And then when you have multiple women on the show, don't put us all in one match. Like,
Right.
You cooking, man? You cooking? You cooking? You are cooking.
like damn, like you book 6 women, you gonna put us all in one match? Like, Don't do that.
Like I would
That's true.
love to
That
see
is true.
so many, like just more than just the one man. Like I know a lot of the shows that I do go to here, it's always either one or two matches. You'll get one multi-woman match and then one might just have one woman in it. I
Hmm.
know there's I know they do the big 500 list of black wrestlers. I can at least count 300 off that list alone. Like, yeah. And then when you get to the PW 500 and all that, like, there's so many women wrestlers out here. Just like have like 3 or 4 matches. I mean, it ain't hurt nobody.
Yeah.
Hell, they matches be better than the men's.
Like, what we doing? Yeah. So.
Perfect.
Just
Absolutely. So also truthfully, I told a bold-faced lie earlier. I said Dryzzy has the last question. Wrong. Changed my mind. Megan has the final question.
That's right. Period. But it's an important one. It's a very important one because not only are we black women, but we're not a size 0, we're not a size 2, we're not a size 4. Like we're big women. And I just want you to know that when you step into the ring, you also represent me as well. And I know the importance of not only being a black, but being a full size woman as well. And when you see other wrestlers like Nia Jax, like Willow Nightingale, like Awesome Khan, like Nyla Rose, and so on, even like Nightmare C Rex, these are all voluptuous women. And I want to know how have their in the wrestling world have influenced your career, and what impact do you hope to make for future generation of diverse big girls in wrestling?
It's nice to be in this time period of wrestling because a while ago, like you said, everybody was size 0, size 2.
Hmm.
Um, Now it's more acceptable to not be that size, and so
Right.
it's nice to see the other women like my size and bigger and stuff get not only a platform but like a prominent spot. Like Willow, I love Willow. That's my girl. She's been
Right.
my girl for a long time. I'm happy that she has such a prominent spot um, because she's not a size 0, and it's like
Right.
she wouldn't have been able to have that 20 years ago. So it's nice to see that in particular because again, it's like she can do it, I can do it too.
Absolutely.
So and even with like my home promotion, like we get a lot of attention and stuff. And again, they were used to having um, really skinny girls. Like before me, it was Britt Baker um, as
Hmm.
the main girl there. And before her, it was like Candice LeRae and Ruby Soho and stuff like that. Just smaller women. So then here I come, and just completely changed the dynamic and the landscape of the forefront of what the women there look like. So yeah, I think it's very important to have not only different representations of you know like
Right.
race but also size as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just had to. I. I'm sorry, Jersey. I just had to on your last question because you know, it is a very
No,
important
I'm glad you did. 100%.
you know um it's yeah it's not that voluptuous women of color that is wrestling. And when we come across someone like Joseline, really killing it in the ring, and she's doing it with her natural hair, and she's
Yep.
she's looking good in the ring, and she's within men's
And I
ass
think
and
it's so
women's ass
beautiful.
too. Um,
I think it's so beautiful, Jocelyn. Earlier, you also mentioned like the track stuff, right? And I can relate. I'm a guy, but like when it comes to being an athlete, right? Like
Mhm.
my physique isn't. I'm not the 6-pack abs dude or whatever. And you talked about being fast, and I was like, I can so relate to that, right? It's not about body type. Speed and agility is not exclusive to one body type.
Yep.
And I love the way that you brought that up, and then with it's absolutely beautiful. And you're so right about it's representation across all of those. Every box, right, is checked in a positive way, and impacting not only the wrestling business but just people in a positive way. And it's beautiful to hear things like that. Like that. That's I was already having a good Sunday morning, and so thank you for for making it for making it even better. Let's keep it on a high note too. Let's keep it on a high note. Let's talk about our highlights of the week, and then we're going to talk about your highlight of your career as well before we finish. But let's start with Megan. Megan, this week in wrestling,
yeah.
your highlight of the week.
Well, I put the highlight on myself because I had the opportunity to meet both Jade and Bianca on Friday. There was a meet and greet here in New York City, and I got online about 15 to 8. So I stood online for over 5 hours, but I got to meet them, and I got to tell them how important they are to not only to me, but to other wrestling enthusiasts, people that enjoy wrestling, how important they are to young children who watch wrestling, but specifically young black girls who is watching wrestling. As I mentioned earlier, we didn't have that. We didn't have that growing up. I grew up watching Trish Stratus and Tori Wilson and Stacy Keebler, and Jacqueline and Jazz and Shamika. They came, but they weren't consistent. They weren't a constant on TV. And just having the opportunity to see them in person and see that they're real. You see them on TV, but to like see them face to face in person, and you see that they're real people, and they was just really happy to meet their fans and those who appreciate their work. And I just thought it was a really cool time. So that was my highlight of the week, is just meeting two of the big three. Now, one day I'll see Trinity. I'm hoping
Wait a minute.
to see her soon.
I thought we met all of the big three. We have Jocelyn on the show, Megan.
Yes, my fault, girl. Forgive me.
You
Forgive
met
me.
all of the big three. I'm totally kidding.
Yes, yes.
But
We
seriously,
gonna
actually, no. But I love it, Megan.
we gonna give her flowers. Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, Dryzzy, your moment of the week this week in pro wrestling.
My moment of the week is currently happening. This interview with Jocelyn means the world to me. It just re-solidifies why I decided to even get into wrestling podcasting, because of people like her and her work, to make sure that I see them flourish and fly, do whatever I can to help in that aspect of it on my end. It's just so important to me. And this moment of this is probably gonna be my moment for a while, because I absolutely adore them. I adore Jocelyn specifically. I adore her so much in her work in the ring, and all the others that she's worked with, and in the same space as, from the Faye Jacksons, Ruthless Lala, Alexis Littleflake, just all those women and black wrestlers in general. It just, this means the world to me. So That's my moment.
Yes, sir. Yes, I love it, Dryzzy. Okay, I'm gonna do my moment really quickly because it's a complete cop out because it's the exact same basically. I woke up this morning ready to do camera cuts, extremely excited to meet Joseline Navarro, and my good friends Megan and Drizzy were like, "No, why don't you just have a microphone too?" I cannot thank you enough. This has been so much fun, and we're not even done yet. Made my entire Sunday so cool. Absolutely, it doesn't get any better than this, and I cannot wait till this comes out to see who it impacts and how it impacts the pro wrestling community and everything. I'm beyond excited, beyond tickled, and cannot say enough thank yous for allowing me to be on this show today. 100%. Now, let's get on to the actual important stuff, not myself. Joseline, your moment of the week this week. And please don't make it this. You're not allowed to pick the same one as me and Drizzy. Please, I'm begging you not to make it this. But your moment of this week, and then we'll do the moment of your career, and then we're all gonna party on a Sunday.
So my moment of the week. Jeff, we had my home promotion had a show last weekend, June 22nd, where Jeff Jarrett appeared, and we have a commentator for the Browns. He does commentary for us as well. He hit him over the head with a guitar. So, um, so they're promoting their match that they're going to have July 13th, and the commentator for us, his name is Nathan Zagura. He has been promoting it so well. He's been walking around with the neck brace on. Um, he's bringing so much outside interest to our show. It's our like WrestleMania show. So that's shout out Nathan Zagura. That's definitely my wrestling moment of the week. It's been so cool to, watch somebody else like who never thought that they would step in the wrestling ring, really like have fun and live their dream out. And it's gonna be all type of people there for that show. So
That's amazing. And to embrace it and then get involved in the neck brace. I love that. Old school Andy Kaufman, right? Like, I love
yeah.
it. Absolutely. Okay. Then before we get going, what would you say is thus far? And remember, you've got a lot of story left to be written.
Yeah.
That's the key to this. But thus far in your career, with all that you've accomplished, if you got to pick one moment that you look back on and you're like, that's the one. That was that it felt so good. Even if it's personal to you and not necessarily like a public in the ring moment, but a moment where you looked up and you're like, I'm doing it. I'm living my dream. I made it, right? Like I'm in the pro wrestling ring. I'm entertaining thousands and thousands of people. Let me know that moment.
Um, I guess it's like two of them. One of them is definitely when I won in Jamaica, and that was such a surreal moment for me because that's always something I always wanted to go back as a wrestler and not just visiting. So having my hand raised in the middle of the ring, that was one of my favorite moments of my career ever. And then I don't know. I guess you know what? Actually, also last week, um, I did a Jerry Lynn seminar, and he had us do like 5 minute matches, and then like after all of everybody's matches and stuff, he pulled me to the side and he was just like, I was blown away by your performance. You told a great story in 5 minutes. He said he would love to see me in AEW, and he said he would love to see me tag with Willow. And it was great to hear that because sometimes wrestling will have you feeling up and down. Like sometimes you're like, I don't know if I'm going to get anywhere with wrestling. And as of lately, I kind of been in like a down point with wrestling. So for him to specifically come to me, like pull me to the side and like say that to me, it was a important moment for me because it made everything come full circle. As yeah, I'm doing everything right. I'm garnering the attention from people that I need to garner it from because he's a producer at AEW, so that also, you know. But
Good company.
yeah. So I was that made me feel, you know, really good. So that's been a different highlight for me as well.
Oh, that's so incredible and so cool. I mean, Jerry Lynn and RVD, I grew up on, right? Come on. I mean, that's like that was my entire childhood was like trying to bootleg DVDs and VHSs of those matches. So to be pulled aside by Jerry Lynn is so cool and deserved.
Yeah.
Seeing your work from watching your body of work,
Yeah.
beyond deserved. That's the part of it, right? And you know, you can say that if you wanted to, but your attitude about it is amazing. And I love how you broke that down. You're like, no, it meant a lot. It's so cool to hear that from somebody of your status when it comes to professional wrestling, just because I mean you're so already so accomplished.
Right.
This is like to come on this show with us today means so much to us. Like, and thank you, like, for your time and everything. That brings us to the end of the show for sure. But sincerely, go before we leave. Shout out anything you want to shout out as far as like social media, promotion stuff, matches, whatever you want to shout out before I take us home with the end of the show.
Okay, definitely follow me if you don't already. Instagram, Joseline__Navarro. Twitter, Joseline_E_Navarro. TikTok, Joseline Navarro 13. I got a big match coming up. Again, at my home promotion. Show's called Absolution. It's July 13th. I can't say who my opponent is because they haven't dropped the match card yet. So I can't say anything. And then
it's gonna be good though. I can say that.
Oh, absolutely, it's gonna be great. But Danhausen's gonna be there. Jeff and Karen Jarrett is gonna be there. So it's gonna be an awesome time. And then of course, shout out to my tag partner, Isaiah Broner. Follow him as well. So, and then shout out to Maya and Jada. I love them. Shout out to them as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we got to run in kids wise here anyway. So we do have to go. Thank you so much for your time. Seriously, Jocelyn. It means the world to us. For the Wrestling Republic wise, if you haven't already liked and subscribed and you're watching this video, smash that thumbs up button. On behalf of me, Clark Taylor, Megan, Dryzzy, and most important, Joseline Navarro, have an awesome Sunday. If you're watching on Monday, have a good Monday. Everyone have a great day in general. Thank you so much once again. Can't say thank you enough. I feel like a broken record, but either way, I promise this is really the end of the show. I'm hitting end.